Yeah, so I've always been a bit of a rebel, um, going against the grain for some reason. And I want to take some of the mystery out of hypnosis because that has been demonized as much as oil or tobacco, that kind of thing. And I want you to know that I just go with my intuition, but I have been sleepwalking and not aware of my emotions. And our spiritual intelligence is far superior to this consciousness. We get taken away, and it's very difficult to find our way back. But I hope I help. I hope this channel helps. I can tell that I am healing from the inside out. I'm walking upright now. My back does not need a lot of pain medication. And I don't need my walker all the time. Just when I get a little tired, I have chronic fatigue, so that's about it. And I don't mind, I just rest then. There's no time. But to take some of the mystery out, I have to also be honest that I don't know how it works. Honest, I really don't. In my practice as a clinical hypnotherapist in West Kelowna, I worked mainly with women and children in removing anxieties and depression. And so I did my sort of induction into hypnosis using progressive relaxation because it teaches the client how to do it themselves, right? I like my method of progressive relaxation more than I like the rapid induction where they're snapping fingers and shocking people into trance. And that's the key. It's shock and fear will put people into a trance. And this is why I'm talking about it right now. There's a lot of shock and a lot of fear going on out there. So, fear is our enemy. We become wholly dependent when in a state of fear. And to remove it, you have to be willing to face what you're afraid of right now and express it out loud. Like, what is your fear? Look at it, right? Take a look. Don't be afraid to look. A lot of our anxiety comes from fear of looking. So ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And when you take that emotion, go back to a time before when you felt that same emotion. Like, I want you to stick with whatever emotion that you're facing right now that's kind of negative. Make it louder. Bring it up by looking at it. And imagine the worst that could happen. Yep, I'm getting you to do that. Imagine the worst. Imagine that. What is the worst that can happen? Who is going to care 50 years from now? And as you're thinking about your emotion, I would like you to take the feeling that you have and feel it really loudly again. Don't be afraid. You're safe. And go back to your childhood and remember a time when you felt that same fear or shame or guilt or whatever negative anxiety or depression that you're feeling. It really does take a willingness to look at yourself and your emotions. But people, they fear emotion, right? And I know that there are two number one fears in the world. The first one is the fear of public speaking. Yeah, that's the first fear of getting up and facing an audience. And two, death. People fear death. Well, I'm here to tell you, we don't die. We are the energy of love. That is our root emotion. And we will return to that emotion. I was sleepwalking when I was 5, and my mother found me. I said I was going out to get candy. And I think at that moment, I really did wake up. I came from a very traumatic background, mother who couldn't love, right? She couldn't love. But all in all, hypnosis is being in a trance and on a day-to-day basis, people are in hypnosis. I have to say that. Like, there's confusional hypnosis, subliminal hypnosis. There's all sorts of types of hypnosis, and they capture your brain and mind with fear or shaming you, right? And that was me my whole life. I felt ashamed. And I had no idea why. No idea. But I never really asked, never really looked at it. But I don't know how it works. When you do backward hypnosis like that, starting with an anxiety today, or a fear or shame, and going back and remembering when you felt those emotions before. And that is when you may slip into a past life. Because don't stop at childhood. Ask yourself, when did I first feel this emotion? And you may find yourself getting flashes or images of people that you recognize, but they're in different costumes. Like, there's your father, but he looks like your husband, or, but you can tell by the eyes that you know this person deeply and love them. So, for some reason, just tapping into, for a moment, a past life, it seems to cure all anxiety. I don't know how it works, but patients or clients rarely need more work once they tap in to their own spirit as having lived before. And, fearing something is no way to live. This is going to take you to places, with other people. You'll fear them, they'll fear you. And you'll be manifesting more black magic than any white magic for yourself. Because we manifest through our thinking, our thoughts. And we're conjuring up images all the time. And so take control of your own thoughts. You can do that if you want, right? It takes a bit of a practice, however. This is a skill, and it's a lifelong skill. A couple of different skills. One, you really learn how to relax when you use progressive relaxation to get into a state of trance where it's not all fear and blah, blah, blah. Or, having somebody there to guide you. You can write out a script and have somebody guide your mind. If your mind tends to wander, right, like mine does. So you can write out a script to how you want to go into relaxation and how you want to go back and discover where any kind of depression or anxiety has come from. 9 times out of 10, it follows you life to life. We are reincarnated, but our emotional disturbances will follow us. So, I think that was all I really wanted to say. Hypnosis was invented about 3,000 years ago, which is right with the timing of the biblical scriptures. And those scriptures are really transcripts. That's the first hypnosis, is following along with the word and believing in that word above your own senses. You're stepping into someone else's story, and we really shouldn't do that. and putting our life into it, committing to that as the ultimate truth, because you don't know for a fact. Somebody else wrote the script, right? The only thing you're going to know for sure is what you conjure up. Why don't you write some poetry from your heart, or a journal? Use handwriting. Diaries are great ideas. Bring your mind back into focus. You can journal, you can set goals. Where do you want to be 1 year from now? Let's not think about where you are or where you were. Where do you want to be? And that is the crux. I can't say the word with my teeth. Where do you want to be in 1 year? And for me, I've always taught life skills, and goal setting really does work. So do affirmations. They're just very short, suggestible, quick sayings that you say to yourself. I am healthy. In 1 year, I will no longer have disease in me. I will have my energy restored. But put it only down into 1 or 2 words. And to keep it simple. You always want to keep things simple. There are many tools that you can use to recover your soul. And when hypnosis was invented 3,000 years ago, people walked into a time trap. There is no such thing as time. We have been going around and around and around. Like the past lives I'm experiencing are all pretty much the same. Like, because I've brought myself together, I can see that I have characters and I have simulations of life that were all very different, right? It's very different to live in the Mediterranean than it is to live in London or in Vancouver. So, each trip, ego trip we call it, is different. And so each costume is different. But what stays the same is your soul, your real spirit. So I'm happy about that. I've had now 8 or 9 years of complete isolation to get to know myself. And you know what? I really like myself. And I want to bring more of me out because I'm full of laughter and joy and love. That's who I am at my core. I'm generous to a fault, and I never expect anything back. Well, that's gonna change because I need some things in order to carry out my goals. And so I'm going to be cashing in on some receipts I have out there where I was very much taken for granted, used, robbed, and I'm just going to get it back. I'll just leave it there. I'm just going to take back what was mine, and I'll do it legally, and I'll do it without drama. It just is. I don't ever go after what I'm not entitled to. And I don't beg. But we're at the point where if I want to live to 100, like my grandma did, well, she lived to 94. And if I want to keep going. And I've got plans, I've got goals. Then I have to have money. So let's just say I'll be writing my ex-husband and a couple of others. I've had 2 lawsuits. I sued a dentist, and who else did I sue? An employer, because he was ridiculous. So I sued a dentist and an employer, and I won both cases. And I'm going to win this one too, because emotional intelligence never forgets, whereas people that lie forget their lies. And I just don't, because I don't lie. And as long as we stick in the truth, then we have the possibility to restore our souls. That's all it takes, is a willingness to live in the truth, and to face the truth, whether something bad is happening to you or you are stuck doing something against others, right? Judge not, lest you be judged, because you are. When you judge somebody, you are looking in a mirror, and you won't see that until it's too late. Bye-bye.